In today's video, I'm going to be attempting to survive 100 days in heaven. This place is crazy. Can I survive 100 days here? Let's find out. I started day 1 by mining a few trees called Skyroot. I noticed that I had already started with a golden parachute and a book of lore. I knew this was going to be helpful, especially the golden parachute, since everything's in the sky. With the wood I had collected from the trees that I mined down, I crafted my first set of wooden tools. After mining my crafting table, I accidentally mined a blue bush that gave me a blueberry. I had found my first food source, which I later put in my book of lore and gave me a cool description of the item. It said, harvested from the berry bushes. This is the most common food source in the Aether. It has very weak hunger restoration. You can enchant this in the altar for much better hunger restoration. I spent a few more days collecting wood so I wouldn't have to worry about needing wood anytime soon, which gave me a feeling of comfort. After collecting a bunch of wood, I saw my first hostile entity. It was a plant that could spit stuff at me, that could blind me and deal quite some damage. Luckily, it didn't have much health, and I was able to kill it quickly with my wooden sword. The stings of the plant kept hurting me for a while longer, which was quite annoying, but eventually, after a while, it stopped. Right after the sting ended, I saw my first friendly entity, a golden cow with wings. It was cool to see a different texture for the cow. It dropped the same things as a normal cow though, leather and raw meat. Right after I was planning on leaving the area to explore the world, this giant creature in the air that looked like a flying whale started spitting snowballs at me. This was going to be quite a problem because of all the bridges I still have to make since everything is in the air. After walking for a while, I saw a pig with the same modifications as the cow I came across earlier. It had wings and was golden as well. I noticed that my food bar was slowly going down and I was going to run out of food soon. Because of this, I decided to spend a few days on gathering as much food as I could, so that I didn't have to worry about a food source anymore. And so I went, gathering mostly blueberries and some meat. After gathering enough food, I also decided that I could use some more wood, so I chopped down a few logs, and it wasn't fast enough, so I went and made myself a wooden axe, so that I wouldn't have to harvest more wood quicker. After some more exploring, I came across clouds, and I decided to mine some of it, and it gave me a block called Cold Arrow Cloud. I put it in the book of lore, and it gave me a pretty useful description. A cold cloud found in the skies in the Aether. It can be used to make parachutes and break drops that would otherwise be very dangerous. After facing a few dangerous mobs, I thought I could use some better armor and decided to go mining. I came across a block that looked a lot like cobblestone, so I reckoned that I could use it to make better tools, and I was right. I decided to just strip mine for a while in the hope of finding good ores to make myself armor. I found a blue ore called Zanite, and not much later a yellow ore called Ambrosium. I looked both of the ores up on my JEI because I had no idea what they did and how to use them. I found out that Ambrosium is the equivalent to coal and has healing properties when eaten, and that I could use Zanite for armor and tools, which I was mining for in the first place. After making a Zanite pickaxe, I went back to strip mining and found a pink ore called Gravitite. I looked it up on my JEI and it showed me that I could make better armor and tools out of it. After strip mining for a while, I came across a new block called Ice Stone. I looked up that I could use it to craft an ice ring and ice pendant. It didn't show me what I can do with it, however. After mining for a few days, I came across an old room underground, containing nothing, which was quite unfortunate. After discovering the room was empty, I decided to make my way back upstairs because I had already spent a lot of time underground mining for ores and barely finding anything. I used my parachute to fly off a cliff to take 0 fall damage, which came in quite handy. After exploring for a little while, I saw a small floating island with a blue tree on it. It looked interesting, so I decided to build a bridge to the tree, but it wasn't that special. It just dropped me a few white apples, and I already had enough food. After mining for days, I decided to test out the altar that was mentioned in the description of a few ores. It had a very cheap recipe. I could craft it for just 1 Zanite gem and 8 holy stone. I started cooking my blueberries and melting my gravitite ores and turning it into enchanted gravitite, which I could then craft myself better tools. Crafting the pickaxe also gave me a cool achievement called Pink is the New Blue. The gravitite pickaxe is quite a bit faster than my old one, so it was worth the trouble to get it. I then collected the rest of my enchanted gravitite and my enchanted berries, and decided to continue mining for a little while longer. After mining some more gravitite and melting it down to enchanted gravitite, I decided to spend the enchanted gravitite I had on the armor so that I wouldn't take so much damage. I also crafted myself a sword out of enchanted gravitite. Because I ran out of enchanted gravitite again, I decided to just make the rest of my armor out of Zanite gems. I now had these armor protection equivalent to iron armor in the overworld, even though it took me way more trouble than it would have taken me collecting iron. After mining for another week, I reckoned that I farmed enough ores for the rest of my journey and decided to go back up to the surface. When I went back to the surface, I saw a gigantic building floating in the air. I immediately decided to build towards it. It looked like an ancient Greek temple, and it had a chest at the entrance containing a few special darts, a torch, and a music disc. In the next room, I saw another chest, but it was a mimic disguised as a chest. In the next room, an angel spawned on me, and when I started attacking it, it said in the chat, "Now you're in for it." And it started attacking me and dealing a lot of damage. I almost died. I kept looting chests in the temple and it had decent loot. I came across another angel, but this time I was more prepared and started killing it with less trouble. I just kept going upstairs and checking all the rooms, and it really felt like a large Greek temple. Every floor looked the same mobs, the same chests, and almost the same loot. After killing about 12 angels and mimics and looting a bunch of chests, I noticed I had received medals named victory medals. I had no idea what they did and if they were just jewelry, so I put them in my lore book and it said, "Proof of defeating a lesser Valkyrie. Use these to prove to the queen that you are worthy enough to fight her." I figured that I would need a few more medals to fight the queen, so I kept searching for Valkyries and killing them, till I came across a large room with one big angel in the middle of the throne. I figured this must be the throne room, where the queen is waiting. I spoke to the queen, and she told me to get 10 victory medals before I could fight her. And so, I spent a while looking for more Valkyries and killing them for medals. As soon as I got 10 medals, I returned to the queen and told her that I wanted to fight her again. The fight began. The queen started flying up and hitting me. After battling her for minutes, I won. I received a special achievement and a custom message in that saying that I'm truly a mighty warrior. I was of course more interested in the loot that I won, so I picked up the key that she dropped me, and it was a silver key. Unfortunately, I didn't know what the key opens, so I put it in my book of lore and read the description. A reflective key that is given to you by a Valkyrie queen after defeating her. Use it to claim the treasure she left. I reckon the treasure was somewhere near the throne she was standing next to, and I was right. There were trap doors leading to a small room under the throne containing a locked chest, so I opened the chest with the key and it contained super overpowered loot, an entire Neptune set, blue gummy sets, and invisibility cloak. The dungeon had successfully been defeated, and with this, I left the temple and continued searching. After leaving the temple to explore more ground, I had found another temple, but this time underground instead of in the air. The dungeon had the same system of the other one, but contained different mobs, a slime stone with runic marks. I quickly found the boss room and started the fight right away. I won the battle quite easily and quite fast, but the loot was still good nonetheless. It mostly contained handy tools such as a staff, a bow, and an agility cape. After killing the boss, I went to the surface and continued exploring. After I went back to the surface to continue exploring, I had built a bridge to go to the next island, but I fell straight into the void. Luckily, I had my parachute and I managed to survive the fall, but I went back into the overworld. Because I had fallen all the way back to the overworld, I knew I had to go to the nether to collect glowstone to make a portal for the Aether, and so I did. I managed to find obsidian very quickly in an underground cave and built myself a nether portal, and now I'm collecting glowstone to make a portal for the Aether. After a while of running into the nether to collect glowstone, I finally had enough to finish my portal to the Aether, and I could finally go back to finish my quest. After I came back to the Aether, I immediately started for the last dungeon, because the 100 days are almost over. I finally found the last dungeon. I had to build a massive bridge to get there, but I did it. I flew right in the entrance of my parachute. It was just one room filled with fire and red blocks, and an idle lava monster. I had prepared long enough, my armor and tools were strong enough. I just had to finish the last battle, and so I did. I went straight to the monster and started attacking it. It didn't want to attack me first. It kept warning me to leave, but I just kept pushing it to fight me. After a long fight of dodging fireballs, I had finally killed the boss, and I got the best key I could get, the golden key. And with the final boss being slain, I had finally, after exhausting 100 days, finished all the quests, and so I survived 100 days in heaven. If you want to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and comment what you want to see next. This is Brainiac Madness here. Peace out.